from the Heritage Foundation, Michael Gonzalez. Michael, let me start with you. Our trade relationship with Brazil, I would say non-existent. $29 billion. We're the second largest trading partner, but dwarfed by China's trade arrangement. And the Heritage Foundation says part of that is a protectionist government that Brazil's had to this point, ranking them 150 out of 180 countries with respect to economic trade.
Well, Charles, thanks for having me on. I think that we are seeing a different relationship now, as we have just seen with Jair Bolsonaro. That was a love fest in which both presidents made news. So I think that the previous trade relationship we've had with Brazil is out the window. Don't forget that Bolsonaro's previous predecessors, Dilma Rousseff and Lula da Silva, were both socialists, actually even further left than socialists, not very friendly towards trade and free markets. You know, this man is, Jair Bolsonaro is, and the fact that President Trump said that the USTR is going to support Brazil's membership at the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, I think it's really good news. Things cannot be rushed, obviously. Brazil must demonstrate that it fits in. But if that were the case, I think that this would see a growth in trade between the U.S. and Brazil, especially with a man who believes in free trade like Jair Bolsonaro. You
know, David, to that point, Bolsonaro was asked about the incentives that they were giving to China for even more trade. He says, listen, we're going to do as much trade as possible with everyone. But he did allude to the point that Michael just made with respect to past administrations. Yeah. Their transactions being politically motivated, that's going to go by the wayside. I mean, just it was a few years ago when all the rage on Wall Street were BRIC countries, right? BRIC being Brazil, Russia, India, and China. But everyone thought Brazil, and they have done well, but would probably have done better if they had a better relationship with America.
I think Michael hit on some really important points. It's pretty clear that there's a new sheriff in town and that our relationship with Brazil is going to change dramatically. He's talking about launching space vehicles from Brazil. I don't know the math on that, but it probably makes sense. They're closer to the equator. I think we're going to have an expanded relationship, and I was nearly stunned when the word NATO was mentioned as a possibility in there. This is obviously a new relationship, and it was very encouraging.
No, Michael, it's interesting because there is an authentic, to your point, I'll borrow your word, love affair, particularly from Bolsonaro's point of view. When he was asked about potential military action with Colombia, he said to the reporter, hey, listen, I can't talk about strategic things that we may do. And then he referenced candidate Trump when he was asked a similar question when he was running for president. I mean, he's following in his footsteps on just about everything.
He even mentioned fake news.
Exactly.
I mean, that was, he hit every Trumpian point. And I'm just still in this belief that Trump said maybe even as a NATO partner. I mean, I think that Venezuela has brought these two men even closer together. But let's not kid ourselves. They were already ideological twins. You know, they're both populist. They're both non-politicians, very maverick sorts, although obviously Bolsonaro was a member of Congress, but not really a run-of-the-mill politician. So we're really looking at who would have thunk it, right? The U.S. and Brazil being so close after so many decades.
So what does this mean then economically? Is it too early to connect the dots? I mean, we're talking two gargantuan economies. Yeah, we do compete, particularly in agriculture, but beyond that, the trading possibilities and also pushing back against socialism, which, by the way, has been dying anyway, but made a major thrust in South America when Chavez was there and oil was trading at $120 a barrel and their economy was growing at 18%. He made a lot of promises, and South America was buying into socialism, hook, line, and sinker.
I think the president's statement that all options on the table apply to a lot of things, not just necessarily Venezuela. I think all options are on the table with Brazil and South America in general. Certainly, we could expand the trade relationship. There's a lot we could trade. Yes, we are competitors in certain areas, certainly agriculture, but I was blown away by this press conference. He even called the election and said that Donald Trump was going to win in 2020, so to speak. So pretty impressive press conference. So,
by the way, also today, General Motors announced that they're going to invest $2.7 billion in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, over the next 5 years. So when you see corporations going behind these meetings like this, it sort of corroborates rather, just how great the relationship is and perhaps the upside potential. Michael, David, thank you.